Hey everybody, how are we doing? Welcome to the Talk of the Town. Today, we're going to be discussing the 2025 Grammy Awards. The Grammys are only 1 month away now. So today I'm gonna be diving into the categories and give my thoughts of who I think will win, who I think deserves to win, and everything in between. Starting today with Album of the Year, I'm mainly gonna be focusing on the pop girls. Because let's be real, 2024 was the year of the pop girlies. So let's get started. This is one of the best years we've ever had for Album of the Year, in terms of how tough the competition is. So let's get into the nominations. We've got Cowboy Carter, Beyoncé, Short and Sweet, Sabrina Carpenter, The Tortured Poets Department, Taylor Swift, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, Chappell Roan, Brett Charlie XCX, and Hit Me Hard and Soft, Billie Eilish. Now I think generally, the nominations were pretty much what I expected. I wasn't that shocked about anything. The only notable snub I can think of is Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine, which, to be honest, I'm not a massive Ariana Grande fan. I've always liked her, but I've never been obsessed with her or anything. But I do think she deserved a nomination here. But we all know how the Grammys feel about Ariana. I also saw some Dua Lipa fans asking where Radical Optimism was. But I have to say I just don't agree. Don't get me wrong. I love Dua Lipa, but Radical Optimism doesn't even compare to other albums in her own discography, let alone other albums released this year. So I think the best way to go about this is to just go through one album at a time. So I'm gonna start off with Cowboy Carter. Now, first of all, are any of us surprised that this is here? No, of course not. It's Beyoncé. You were all expecting it. So do I think this nomination was deserved? Yes, absolutely. Cowboy Carter stood out in country music. Country is typically dominated by white men. So Beyoncé coming into the country game was so important in showing that it can be done. However, do I think Cowboy Carter will win Album of the Year? No. As we know, Beyoncé has never won an Album of the Year Grammy. And I don't think Cowboy Carter is the album to change that. If the Academy didn't vote Lemonade or Renaissance as Album of the Year, I don't see them voting Cowboy Carter for it either, as I think the other two are much stronger Beyoncé projects. But if I'm proven wrong and Beyoncé finally does get an Album of the Year Grammy, I won't be complaining. It's about time. Next is Sabrina Carpenter, Short and Sweet. Now I was annoyed last year when Emails I Can't Send got no nominations. But now I'm glad that this is her first impression to the Academy, because her career has obviously skyrocketed this year. And there has been a massive jump in quality from Emails to Short and Sweet. I feel like this album could maybe have a chance at winning, but I just don't think it will. Short and Sweet is very sonically cohesive, in the sense that the vibes running throughout the album stay consistent in every song. I also think that this is an album full of actual songs. I don't think there's any filler songs on here. Looking at the track list, I just see banger after banger. So, if this was another year, I could definitely see it winning. But again, the competition is so fierce this year, and I don't know if it will win. However, I will be very happy if it does. Next we have the big one, last year's winner Taylor Swift, with The Tortured Poets Department. Now I am the biggest Taylor Swift fan ever. I love her and I love this album. However, I don't think that it's Album of the Year. Not because I think it is an Album of the Year quality, just because I'm pretty certain she's not gonna win. Last year she won her 4th Album of the Year Grammy, breaking the record for the artist with the most Album of the Years. So, I just don't see the Academy giving it to her again so soon after. And also, if we look in terms of streams and things, the singles like Fortnite and I Can Do It With a Broken Heart do have a lot of streams, but that's just because it's Taylor Swift. Any Taylor Swift song is gonna do well. But if we think about the impact made, Tortured Poets doesn't come close to albums like Midwest Princess or Short and Sweet. I think lots of people could sing a song from one of those albums. But I think if you asked someone to sing a song from Tortured Poets, they would struggle. Again, I don't think this will win, but I'd be very happy if it does. Next we have a big contender, I think, Chappell Roan, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. I really think this has a high chance of winning. When we look at the success Chappell has had this year, think of the crowds, all the festivals. Think of the Guts Tour. All of that. It's hard to deny this album's good. Like when you have hits like Hot to Go, Red Wine Supernova, Casual, Phenomenon and Pink Pony Club. all on the same album, you know it's good. I think as well the Grammys will like Chapel. They love a good overnight success story. They love a sudden rise to fame. Think Billie Eilish, think Olivia Rodrigo. And when we look back at the 2020 Grammys and the Billie Eilish sweep, I think Chapel has potential to do something like that too. I really think this has a good shot at winning. Next we have, arguably the most culturally significant of them all, Brat by Charlie XCX. And as culturally significant as it may be, I don't think it's album of the year. Here's my thing with Brat. When you look at the success of Brat, you're thinking Brat Summer, you're thinking the ugly green everywhere. You're mainly thinking the aesthetics of Brat, rather than the actual music itself. Like in terms of charts and hits, Brat didn't do as well as other albums on this list. You can't deny that Brat was everywhere. I think if you asked the general public what Brat was, they could tell you, they could describe it to you. But if you asked them to sing a verse from Brat, I think a lot of people would struggle. And that is why, as much as I myself do like Brat, I don't think it will win Album of the Year. Last but not least, we have Billie Eilish. Hit Me Hard and Soft. I think this is another real contender. We know the Grammys love Billie usually, and I think this year will be no different. I honestly can't decide if I think this is one of Billie's strongest albums or not. Like, the highs were high, think Birds of a Feather, think Wildflower, think The Greatest, think Lunch. But the lows were kinda forgettable. Think The Diner, think Bittersweet. So it's really down to if the Academy think the good songs outweigh the filler songs or not. But I still think this album has a strong chance. Do I think it deserves to win? I honestly don't know. Not because I think it's a bad album. I think it's a great album. But there's just been so many good albums this year. It's hard to pick a best one. But I do think Hit Me Hard and Soft is up there, and I do think it could win. So that's all the nominations I'm gonna be discussing. And I'm now gonna give you a rundown of how likely I think these albums are to win, from least likely to most likely. So first, the album I think is least likely to win, Brat by Charlie XCX. I know the girlies are gonna be mad about this one, but just remember, this isn't who I think deserves to win. This is who I think the Academy will vote to win. Next, I'm gonna say the Tortured Poets Department. Again, I just don't see them giving it to Taylor again so soon. And also the fact that literally nobody wants it to win. Only the Swifties are rooting for it. Next, I'm gonna say Cowboy Carter. Like I said before, if Beyoncé has never won Album of the Year, I don't think this specific album will be the one to change that. Then, I'm gonna go with Short and Sweet. I think it's up there. I think it's a contender. Next, I'm gonna say Hit Me Hard and Soft. I know I was criticizing it quite a bit earlier, but I do really like this album. And I think the Grammys will like it too. And finally, the album I think most likely to win Album of the Year, Chapel Roan, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. I really think the Grammys are gonna like her. And I do think she would deserve this if she did win. So there we have it. That's my Album of the Year predictions. In my next video, I will be giving my predictions on another category. But for now, thanks for watching. This has been the Talk of the Town. Goodbye.